Back to the 1980 Star Basketball Channel. Been out for a little bit. Just been really busy. So this is my first, longest I've gone with video, a week here, and wanted to catch up on some of the action, some of it a little past, but looking at some of the auctions I was looking at and where they ended at. So kind of started with eBay ended auctions. Looking at this, this was an authentic 101 that ended at 5772. It was pretty beat up. So it ended up, going for kind of reflecting that. It's one of the lower priced ones I've seen, but it was really beat up. So, but it was authentic. The second one, this was an interesting one for 2900. The reason I think this is interesting is because it has really low subs on it, and it still went for almost 3,000. So this is a kind of, to me, this is someone, or someone purchasing the card who's just looking at that seven, looking at the big number, and this would not be a very good PSA, crossover candidate. But if you don't care, then it doesn't matter. But you got your seven and kind of moving on. But it was a little surprised that this went for that just because of the subs. But moving on, we got an 8, and I think the subs on this one were fairly. The centering was fairly weak here. The other ones going, but looks to be looks like a full sized, and it's just a little top heavy for sure. But if the corners are bad, it's definitely not going to sell for that high premium. And it went for 20,500. I was watching these Mavericks, see where some of these raw Mavericks would fall in, and it looks like in the $50 range. PSA 4 101 for 9,400, and sounds about right. And when we're looking at a PSA 6 that sold for the 195 at 2,100. I was interested in this to see where this ended up. Just basically an authentic altered CK26 Court Kings 26 5x7. Obviously an awesome photo, and this is like that cult following card. People are gaga over this one, and I really like it too. It makes for a great backdrop and a display. So that Bowman Mickey Mantle, it ended. I don't think it sold. I don't think the reserve was met, and it's 6,558. So it didn't meet the reserve price. There was I believe this was a 7. It was a 7. I don't think this met the reserve for this person either, on the Bird Irving Magic. This mantle, poor 101, or poor 101, poor Mickey Mantle PSA 1, sold for 27,600. Thought that was kind of just a fun one to watch. And this PSA McGuire, again, I watched these Mavericks, went for 185, so I was watching that one too. I'm just still looking at some of those other raw ones. Obviously, these will probably end up in the same range, that 50. Here's that PSA 8, 1986 Fleer. I was keeping track of, 6,300. We'll see where this one ends up. Day left. Crunch, 8.5 at 870. Got a few days left, so we'll see at the next one. These the 288 with good subs on it. A 6. This has that white bottom, so it's I have one like this, and it's top to bottom centering is, but they're generally fairly sharper cards, so it looks like this is kind of within that range. Corners, I'm a little surprised that this got a 9 on the two top ones, but the bottom are pretty razor edge on the bottom. But this card generally has top edging problems on every single one of them, and obviously the side left to right centering. So that's going to be one to see where that ends at. There's a 7.5, 195 with a couple days left. PSA 8 on this Aguirre at 400 already. That's a very high grade. And then just some of the other ones that I've been watching. Kind of switch over and we'll go over to 130 points, show the 101 endings. Here was that that authentic that I showed. Here's a 7.5 with actually low subs, and 7 went for 15,000, which is about right for on these 7.5s with low subs. 7.5s can be all over the place because they're kind of at that crosshair of, they can be kind of like 8s. You either get an 8 or a 6 kind of thing, or they can be anything in between. So really 7.5s with strong subs are a great price point. Here's that BGS 8 that I showed already. Here's unfortunate. Someone got a best offer accepted. Hopefully it doesn't get past eBay's authentication for this 12,000 sale on, this is obviously a fake and a counterfeit right here. So hopefully it doesn't go very far. That 4 that I showed, there's a couple of those that I did show, and it looks like BGS 8 sold for 22,500, and another, I think these are the same seller, so I don't know if this is that back and forth thing going on again. And this is a 6. These PSA 6s, 2 looking very similar, sold, kind of in the same day. Kind of odd, but you know, kind of looking at it going too far. I'll have to go back and check those. But this PSA 3 here sold for 7,800. Looking at these are those 101s, the PSA 8s. The one sold for 78,350, another sold for 65,500. That's a day apart. That's pretty odd, but just such a difference in price. I don't know if it's that different. That's a little strange. So I'm gonna have to go back and see those sellers as well. Make sure that kind of no shenanigans are happening. And there's a on March 21st. It looks like that 19,600 for that for a BGS 8. So let's check out these auctions on PWCC. These are the current ones. BGS 9 current bid is $10. So I'm going to go to the ones that just ended. I was really interested in some of these ending prices. So we got the Worthy, a Gem Mint 10 for 4,560. We got the Zeke selling for 3,720, PSA 9. And this bird is so awesome. PSA 9, 3,500 basically for this short printed bird. I just really like those. Then the Mavericks, we're looking at the Orlando Blackman, Gem Mint 10s. So these for 1,800, these kind of sold for the same price as Rolando Blackman and Derek Harper. And the Dale Ellis a little bit less, and it's a pop 1. All these are pop 1s, but these Gem Mint 10s are pretty impressive. This was kind of, to me, the steal. Whoever got this for a PSA 8.5 pop 1 with just one higher of this Drexler rookie, I would have definitely picked it up at that price. That is, to me, cheap. That was a good deal right there, especially for the population. It's just a really tough card. So yeah, I liked that. Likewise, here's that 9 BGS that sold for 810, which is about right. Here's the Zeke BGS 9 that went for 900. So I'm just watching some of these, some of the lower end ones, but just wanted to show where some of these, these ended up at. And then I have over here we got looking at this, where this ended up at. We got one of these the 195s with an 8.5. This centering, I don't understand the centering grades for BGS. I really don't. And they're just kind of tough to figure out what they're going to do with what you have, even though they know the card. It's almost like they grade on a curve. They have this, they know it's off centered, so they kind of go with it, at that. And that's just, you can't really do that. But I mean, it's really hard. But the top to bottom center, remember, for Star, it is, these were supposed to be with a top heavy, centering. So the bottom border is supposed to be small, but the left to right, and I think this one even top to bottom is off a little bit. But to get an 8 is questionable, in my opinion. So And then I showed some of these other ones, but I did want to show this. The Near Mint 7, sold for 4,800. So I thought this was a really cool card. I have one that I might even send in that's pretty much looks exactly like this, and would be good to see if I can kind of get in the same range. And I did want to show this. This is the big kid. This is the new thing that came out a few days ago. It looks like on mycardpost.com, a PSA 9. I have never seen this high of a grade, and it is just a beaut. It's definitely a very high quality card, very left to right centering and top to bottom. This is the one thing that's different about PSA though. They go with what some people call a modern centering for the card. By modern they mean like the top to bottom. If you just look at it with your eye, it's centered. But with these cards, we're supposed to be a little top heavy. So that's Steve Taft has noted that, and that's kind of been the general consensus among the community. So with this, it seems PSA wants to see. It doesn't really care about what the consensus or whatever. It's almost like they're making their own, and if it looks like it's centered, then it's centered. So they're taking a little different approach. And if you look at this, obviously it looks centered. And it's a very, very clean, regardless of which, it's a very clean copy. And they're asking for the small, small price of 1.52 million. That to me was really, really awesome to see. And what's funny is I think if you compare it just in cards and relatively, like what are the other mantles going for with a half the population count, this is still totally undervalued to me. As big as it looks and whatnot, the number, I still think that this should be quite a bit more. So, again, only in comparison to other cards of this stature, and it's Jordan being the number one most recognized athlete across the world, and it's just a really kind of interesting to see. But the one thing is, whoever picks this up, this has room to run, in my opinion. So, thought I would end it with this. Thought I would end it with a bang. So, again, like, subscribe, and then I'll see you at the next video.